What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt Taville with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning 89-year-old Bob Arum. Bob Arum had this to say about Errol Spence. He said that Errol Spence is hiding behind Haymon, and he doesn't want the fight. Now, you guys know how I feel about Bob Arum in certain situations. And some of his views, and I don't like them. But I do give credit when credit's due. And I have to agree with Bob Arum. See, if we learn anything about Errol Spence, we know he's a good fighter. We know he's a part of the PBC. We know what we've seen what he can do with fighters. We've seen him challenged. We've seen him rise to the occasion, like he did in the Kell Brook fight, I believe. I believe he stepped it up a couple notches fighting Kell Brook. But I think when it comes to Terrence Crawford, the energy is not there. Fighting Pacquiao, hey, the energy's there, and I could get at the time he was with PBC, because I could get that. It's an easier fight to make or whatnot. And then plus Manny Pacquiao is Manny Pacquiao. And but what I don't get is, why is he trying to fight Manny now? I know the strap season, but Manny is not with the PBC anymore. It's just as hard or it should be just as challenging to fight Manny Pacquiao than it would be to fight Terrence Crawford. But here's the deal. If you notice the recent energy of Errol Spence doesn't talk like anybody that wants to fight anyone with the name of Terrence Crawford. So Bob Arum's right when he talks about the promotional company, because even when those guys, were talking back and forth when they were face to face at one point a couple years ago, even at that time, Errol Spence wasn't, he would say, I crush you. You light in the ass and things like that. I mean, those were, those were just that. Look, that's something no different than Gervonta Tank Davis saying on Twitter. You see what I'm saying? It's nothing that was, let's get the fight on. If you heard Terrence Crawford like, okay, when we gonna fight? You ain't the boogeyman, I'm chasing you. What's up? Okay, that was 2 years ago. I get it. And even at that time when we revisit that, Errol Spence was more like, well, Al Haymon, my manager, he said I got these guys lined up for me to fight. And Terrence Crawford wasn't one of them. But if you guys want to get me to believe that those guys at the PBC has a choice on who they fight, show me. That's all. Because, I'm going to stop talking about it. You guys know how I feel about it. I think the slaves over there. So if they're not slaves, show me. Show me if they're not getting controlled. If they have some form of control, show me. Okay, that's all you need to know. Show me. Like, what Bob's saying, he's hiding behind Al Haymon. Like, well, that sounds like it's true, because all he's talking about is what someone else has in store for him. He's not talking about his desire. He's talking about horses and rabbits and goats and chickens and shit on a farm. You're trying to pull a fucking past day Roy Jones Jr., having chickens and shit. But then, dude, you're in the prime of your life. You're 30 years old, and you're talking like you're about to retire. That's what it sounds like. Oh, I got my ranch. I'm going to feed, get some horses and some chickens. Okay, that's something you do when you're about 38, bro. And for him saying, hey, I'm not interested in that, and, he got to promise me he won't come to my fights. Wait, he got to promise you that he won't come to your fights because he don't supposed to be worried about you. Therefore, you're not worried about him. Therefore, nothing gets resolved. You guys understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, what does that have to do with you wanting to fight this guy? You're showing no energy towards fighting Terrence Crawford. And Bob Arum, he must have gave up promotional wise with Terrence Crawford, and he's giving him a shitty end of the stick. But that doesn't stop what he says to be true. And what's true is Errol Spence is hiding behind the decision of someone else. But again, I think they're slaves. So me wrapping this up, I think those PBC fighters, they need to show me. And to put the stank on it. Who's tried to fight people or supposedly tried to fight people that was with Al Haymon? Gary Russell Jr. How'd that work out for him? Right? How'd that work out for him? That's the question you ask yourself. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Bob Arum and his comment. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.